please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance with us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge allegiance to the flag of Michigan and to the state for which it stands, two beautiful peninsulas united by a bridge of steel, where equal opportunity and justice to all is our ideal. I would also like this evening for us to have a moment of silence for the tragedy that occurred this morning out in Las Vegas. Thank you. Sandy, could we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Shippers,
Here.
Spolman,
Here.
Ingalls,
Here.
Meinhardt,
Here.
Mayor Folkins.
Here. This time we'll look for approval of the agenda.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Councilmember Spolman,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
Meinhardt.
Yes.
Shippers,
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. This time we'll open the floor for public comment. We do ask if you come forward, if you would please state your first name and then write your name and address for the clerk. Seeing no one else, or seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close public comment and move on to the consent agenda. This evening we have the minutes from the regular meeting that was held on September 18th.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Councilmember Ingalls,
Yes.
Meinhardt,
Yes.
Shippers,
Yes.
Spolman.
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, so this evening we have a public hearing. Marcus, would you like to introduce that?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Filkins and members of the City Council. This evening, we have a public hearing regarding a proposed amendment to the metal caster brownfield plan. This evening, we do have consultant Mac McClellan from Otwell Malby present. That's the firm that is working with the Cadillac Brownfield Redevelopment Authority that has recommended for your approval tonight after the public hearing, the Brownfield Plan Amendment. Mac will provide a brief update to the City Council regarding just some of the fundamentals of what a brownfield incentive is and how it applies in this community specific to this project, along with an explanation of the project as well. So, Mac, if you wouldn't mind coming forward. We also have, while Mac is coming forward, representative from Avon Protection, Mike Hamner, here with us as well, too. So, thank you.
Marcus suggested a 2-hour presentation, but I thought I'd cut that
Sure
down
you
a little bit for you. So. Thanks. So we're excited to be here. This is the public hearing is required by Act 381 for the governing body to hold for consideration of a brownfield plan amendment, either a brownfield plan or a brownfield plan amendment. We hope to be back. Haven't had many of these recently, but hope to be back with a whole number of other projects, including Mitchell Bentley and Cobbs Mitchell Olson. Some exciting opportunities that are coming forward as well. But again, this is required by the Act for the governing body to hold a public hearing. The Act also requires the Brownfield Authority to approve the Brownfield Plan, which it did on September 5th. And also notices to the taxing jurisdictions, and ultimately your approval. There's a resolution, I believe, in your packet for consideration tonight. I just want to briefly talk a little bit about Act 381 and how it works and what it does. It was passed in 1996 originally, Michigan Brownfield Redevelopment Financing Act. And the primary purpose is to be able to reimburse extraordinary costs related to redeveloping property. And the way that reimbursement occurs is through tax capture from future private investment. There's no upfront dollars that are spent by the local jurisdictions. It's all based on private investment and increasing value of property to pay for those increasing costs that occur. Eligible property is not only just contaminated property, but it can also include blighted property, functionally obsolete, or properties with historic designation. So that's the eligible property component of what a brownfield is. And eligible activities include two things, primarily environmental activities, which are all of the costs that you have to incur to find out if a site is contaminated, and if it is, to document that contamination, and also to address any of the contamination on site. You're not liable for that contamination if you go through the right process, but you still have requirements, due care requirements, to make sure that you don't make it any worse and you don't expose people to it. The other non-environmental costs are lead and asbestos abatement and demolition. Those are all kind of costs that are non-economic to projects. They're extra expenses, extraordinary expenses to redevelop a project. So the idea is to level the playing field between a greenfield site and a brownfield site. In this, because the City of Cadillac is a core community or a qualified local governmental unit, site preparation and infrastructure are also eligible activities. We don't have those in this particular project, but those are pretty tremendous opportunities to be able to, if a development comes in, to be able to reimburse some public infrastructure costs that may be associated with the project. So it really is a kind of an important opportunity and important for many projects to deal with these extraordinary costs. As I mentioned, it doesn't have the upfront costs for the local community or the state. Those expenses are made by the private developer, and then based on the increased taxes that are generated, those taxes are captured and then reimbursed to the developer up to the point of their actual expenses. So after the project moves forward, we'll be looking at the actual expenses at the Brownfield Authority, approving those expenses. Right now, this is a budget that's kind of a master plan in the Brownfield project, and then the reimbursement will be based on those actual expenses. There's again, not an investment up front. There is an investment as a part of the public by providing the dollars and the tax capture dollars to reimburse these costs. But that small, relatively small investment over time that you might not have otherwise will yield some pretty tremendous returns. For this particular project, the original Metalcaster brownfield plan was passed in 1997, and kind of the result is the current Avon Protection System facility. It's where that site was. What Avon Protection has done is acquired the property, the Western Concrete property, to the south. I'm sure everybody's disappointed to see the pallets gone there as an art form. But working on cleaning up that project, and importantly for future expansion for Avon as well. So the purpose of this plan is to add that portion as eligible property to be able to conduct eligible activities on the site, to conduct all the environmental work that's necessary on that site, and to clean up the site and remove the most of the building structures. One structure will be kept for improvements for future expansion for Avon Protection. So taxes will be captured from both properties and reimbursed over a relatively short period of time. The Brownfield Plan also provides for capture into a local Brownfield fund that can go in and provide opportunities to help other brownfield sites throughout the community and conduct eligible activities on those sites in the future. So hopefully that's a brief enough explanation.
I just wanted to add, Mac, with respect to the building that's staying, as the council packet communication reflects, it's to accommodate new positions that are coming in that are specifically research and development type jobs from out of state, so more professional based positions.
Yep. And I think Mike wanted to perhaps explain a little bit of that, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mac. And I just want to start by thanking you for your consideration of this this brownfield resolution. The big part of it, 97, when I was with Avon, we did this Metalcasters, which is a dilapidated, contaminated piece of property. We converted it to a rubber recycle center that lasted a couple of years. Didn't really have a market for it, so when protection really got busy, we converted it to a logistics operating center. Since then, we've added 60,000 square foot to that original Metalcaster site. This 5 acres just south of us, Western Concrete's been out of business for quite some time. It's been covered in pallets. It's been pretty much an eyesore. So what I'm trying to do is expand our footprint in Cadillac from Avon side, Avon Protection, and this is a pretty key part of that strategy going forward. So as Max mentioned and Marcus has mentioned, we've got sites elsewhere in the U.S. that I'm trying to consolidate and trying to, I'm really in competition for. So having 10 acres in an industrial park in Cadillac definitely is helpful for that pursuit. It's not guaranteed, it's not locked in, nothing ever is, but if you've driven by the site, we've cleaned it up, got the pallets out of there, we've gotten some of the buildings torn down, and we're well on our way. So just again, thank you for the consideration, and look forward to staying in Cadillac for quite some time. Thank you.
So, Mayor, members of the City Council, certainly Mac is still here should you have any questions about the Brownfield Incentive Plan or the plan amendment and the Brownfield tool. Mike is here should you have any further questions on the plans from the company. But I just wanted to add publicly that this is a very good opportunity for the City of Cadillac to show how it's supportive of our Cadillac industry. It's a tool that we have available to us, granted to us under authority issued by the state of Michigan. And I would strongly encourage, subsequent to the public hearing, that the City Council do consider approving this amendment to the Brownfield Plan. This will help ensure the stability and sustainability of the company, Avon Protection, here in Cadillac by absorbing that property into their footprint overall and incentivizing their further redevelopment of what is currently empty, quasi-blighted property. So, thank you.
Okay. This time, we'll open the floor for public comment.
Marcus just stole the Chamber of Commerce line. I'm a little upset about that, Marcus. No, but the Chamber of Commerce would like to encourage the city to help one of our very important manufacturers to continue to grow and expand in this area. And a lot of you guys know this already, but one of the nice things about the Brownfield tool is you don't just capture the city's taxes, you capture all of the local taxes, and in some cases the state taxes, to help offset these costs so the burden doesn't fall entirely upon the city's shoulders. So it's a wonderful tool the state created to help communities like Cadillac move forward in this manner. So we would encourage you to support this.
Could you write down your name, please?
I can.
Thanks. We know who you are.
Thank you.
Seeing no one else, we'll go ahead and close the public comment portion of the hearing and open the floor for the council discussion.
Well, I thought it was explained really well, and I'm glad you did that. And contrary to some people's beliefs, council doesn't know a lot about Brownfield. At least this council member doesn't, because it's been so long since we've had one in front of us. So I really appreciate the education. So here's my question. In this tax capture site, the only taxes that are being captured are the ones that the owner is paying for that site, or it doesn't cover a larger area, correct?
I'm going to ask Mac to come back up to the podium. All the taxes are being captured.
Yes, but it is specific to the Avon and Western Concrete properties itself. It's not a larger DDA kind of capture. It's specific to those brownfield properties.
But it's all the taxes, like.
It would be all the taxes. We have to get explicit approval for state tax capture, but it does include those.
And then you also talked about the ability to put money into a fund, capture funds for a later time. Is that going to be part of this project also?
It is included in the plan that after those eligible activities are paid off to Avon, there's an opportunity to capture state taxes for 5 additional years.
So we're
Excuse me,
applying
local
for the
taxes.
10-year, and this, after 6 years, it's going to be paid off, and then we'd capture for the following 4?
That's correct.
Or
Yep.
put it into a fund?
That's correct.
Okay.
And you can also capture state taxes in an equivalent amount of the original environmental expenses. So that's a great opportunity as well, is that you can capture some state taxes for that brownfield fund as well.
Yeah.
It's limited again to that amount.
May I add one thing to that too? I think is in the capture, it's only the capture on the growth of the value once it's cleaned up. So the city is not going to be losing anything that we've gotten in the past. It's as that property continues to grow in value when it's developed and cleaned up, those taxes are captured, not anything that's been coming in according to its current value.
Okay.
So it's only on the growth
Okay. And it's only for those 10 years.
for a limited period of time. Yeah.
And then, Marcus, who's on the local Brownfield Authority?
Currently, the members include Mayor Filkins, Reagan O'Neill, Mike Filiomeni, Brian Warner, and myself as chair. I don't think, am I missing anybody? I don't think so.
I think so. That's right.
And Brian Warner also happens to be the head of the environmental division at Wolverine Power Cooperative, which is
And this was
he's our
approved in
newest
September.
member. Yep. Yes.
Seems like pretty much of a win-win, if you ask me. So, everybody,
You guys all set?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution approving a brownfield plan amendment, metal caster, Avon Protection / Western Concrete.
Support.
Councilmember Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Spelman?
Yes.
Ingalls?
Yes.
Mayor Filkins?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you all.
Thank you. It's certainly appropriate if you gentlemen wish to take off and enjoy your evening. Feel free to
Mike's like, oh, darn.
move on. So, thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. We have a community spotlight next. Carrie Thompson with the Cadillac Wexford Transportation Authority is here this evening to provide us with an update.
All right. Can you hear me? There. Too short. So we've had a great year at the transit. I just wanted to share a few things with you guys and talk about some things that are coming up with the transit. So ridership this year, you all remember that we put in new software about a year ago, and that is definitely paying off for us. Our ridership for this year, we just ended our fiscal year, is up 17,000 rides. Wow. So that's a big increase for us. So we did over 130,000 rides this year, and that's up from about just under 114 last year. So we're very excited about that. The other thing is that in providing those additional 17,000 rides, our operating cost is actually down by about 56 cents an hour, which is good. That adds up over time with 25 buses on the road. So we're very excited about that. And then the other thing that the community had asked for, and the reason we went into investing into that software, was because they wanted to have a transit system that's more dependable. And we are running right now between 93 and 95% on time, which, to be honest, is kind of unheard of in transit. So we're very excited about that. The software is really working for us. We have a couple of new programs coming up this year. One is a volunteer driver program, which is a little outside the box for transit, but over the last couple of years, we've been hearing from several large organizations here in town that said that we really need to find a way to bridge the gap with public transit and getting people kind of outside the county area. So, for instance, let's say that we have a senior in the area that needs to go from here down to Ann Arbor or Grand Rapids, okay, and they don't have any family members. And how do they get there? So they call us and we say, well, we can't go over the county line for that kind of thing because that's millage dollars that need to stay here. So we, as a team at the transit, really looked into how do we bridge that gap? And so we found a grant called New Freedom that focuses on mobility for seniors and people with disabilities. And so now we partnered with DHHS, the COA here in Wexford, the COA in Missaukee, and the Veterans Group. And with those partners, we are putting together this volunteer driver program. We have full funding to do that through this program called New Freedom with mileage reimbursement. Not only does it help bridge that gap, but it also helps these organizations stretch their transportation dollars twice as far because they all have transportation programs as it is right now, but none of them are logistics experts. So they're spending a lot of time having to schedule those rides, and we will be able to do that for them. Part of the grant was hiring a mobility coordinator, and so that person has been in place now with us for about 2 weeks, and they will be building this program out and handling all difficult transportation for those groups. So we're really excited to be able to partner with them and help them with their transportation needs. The other thing that I should report on is you remember some of our evening service, also called JARC, that's the funding source with the state, which stands for Job Access Reverse Commute. So that program's running really well. Saturday is very successful for us. Into the evenings, you remember that pretty much the transit shut down at about 5:30 before. We are now open till midnight. We are pretty steady up till about 9 o'clock, and then we do see a bit of a decline from 9 until midnight. So we'll be looking at that over the next year to see if we should reallocate some of that to Saturday, because Saturday is very popular. The other thing is that you all remember that we had the community vote on a name. We are going to be changing our image because during our focus groups 2 years ago, that was one of the things they had asked for, is an updated image. So we are doing that, and you will see the unveiling of our new graphics and logo and all of that in the next probably 5 weeks. So we're really excited. You will see new buses, so there will be no more of all those fun nicknames that we all love. I'm sure you all know what they are. So we won't have any more of that with the green buses. And really, we're just kind of, do you know, yeah. Really, we'll just be, I'm not going to say it on the record.
Someone's gonna have to
The
tell me
booger
later.
buses.
Oh, yeah, they
Yeah,
have
that's
to-
what the kids call us. It's
Yes,
super fun.
yes,
So we are trying to get rid of that image. And so you'll be seeing new vinyl graphics on the side of the bus with the new name. We have vinyl graphics on the side of our buses now, so really all we're doing is swapping those out in the future. So we're very excited about that. Does anybody have any questions about the transit or anything going on? We are still deciding. The new graphic looks pretty neat with the green, and the thing about the green is you can see it in any weather condition. So it is important, yeah. So we are going to see, we'll put them on, we'll see how people like them. We could switch to white. We have about 6 new buses coming in this year, and they're all going to be, well, 4 of the 6 will be smaller than what you're used to seeing. So you remember last time I gave a presentation, you all saw the MV1, which is working really well. We're just going to go one size up from that, and they're Ford Transits, and they have seating that moves around. It's a pretty neat configuration, so we can we can move 12 people that are ambulatory, so not in a wheelchair, or we could move 6 people that are in wheelchairs because the seats actually pop in and out and they can move around. So it really allows us a lot of freedom as a transit to be able to do different things. And they're a little bit smaller vehicle. With this new software, we're finding that we're moving more people than ever, but we're doing it kind of with smaller groups. Right, because that's just how the system works. And so we're able to utilize smaller vehicles that are more fuel efficient. So all the way around, it's been great for us. Any other questions?
I just have to say that in your time there at the transit, you guys have just done a tremendous job.
Well, thank you.
You know, I mean, when you got it to the point that it was better, you haven't stopped.
Yeah, financially, we just finished our year and we're doing better than ever. We have not had to touch our reserves. 3 years ago when I came in, they were using those every year, and we have not had to do that, and we are very financially healthy right now. So
Where are you at in your millage?
what are we, our first year in? So we've got 5 more years in our millage, I believe, right now, so,
Great.
because we had a 6-year.
Well, good. I'm excited to see the unveiling.
Yeah, we'll make sure that you all get an invite to our unveiling.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Not all public transportation organizations are doing as well as we are here in Wexford.
So I have a quick question before we move on. When you said that you're 93 to 95% on time, what was it in your old job?
We didn't know exactly. They said, we'll get you when we get there, pretty much. And so that was the problem. So we tried to run an estimate and we thought about half the time, but we weren't giving specific times to people. So, sorry.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, sorry.
We weren't giving specific times to people, so it's hard to measure that. But I will tell you that just based on some of the feedback we're getting from riders. We don't get the complaints anymore like we used to. We don't have those types of issues, and usually it was I was late for whatever their appointment was, and we're not seeing very many of those anymore. If that happens, it's because maybe something mechanically has happened. We had to swap out a bus, that kind of thing. But for the most part, it's been very smooth. So we're excited about that. And I should say that with the economy up the way it is right now, most transits across the state are seeing a decline in ridership, and we are seeing the opposite here. So there was definitely a need for public transit. They just weren't tapping into it kind of in the same way. And so that's what we're trying to do now is look for other avenues where we can help different organizations. And so that's why our partnership with DHHS and the Veterans and COA is so important.
I like your new grant program too, and thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, the grants are out there. We just have to get them. So, and that's great because the two programs I talked about, the evening programs and then also our new Freedom for the Volunteer Driver Program, those are purely federal money. So if they don't come to Wexford, they're going somewhere else across the country. So it's our chance to capture that, and then you don't have to pay more millage money, those kind of things. We're able to keep all of those things consistent and not ever have to ask for more if we're actually getting supplemental from the federal government. And we want those here in Wexford. And that's my job, is to make sure that they're coming here and we're getting our fair share. So.
Yeah, and I also didn't mention, I'm really, really glad for you that, in expanding your hours, that you're busy until 9 o'clock. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
So-
yep. And we'll decide what to do from 9 to midnight. We're not sure if we need to do a little more marketing or if we need to just reallocate those to Saturday, because we do sometimes have refusals on Saturday. And so we don't want that either. We want people to be able to use it when they call. So we'll probably do that.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that'll take us to communications, Sandy.
Yes, the first request is a request from the First Church of the Nazarene to place one sign at the intersection of Mitchell and it would be East Cass on November 3rd to 4th, 2017 during the hours of operation, and place additional signs in the right-of-way in front of the church from October 27 to November 4th, 2017 for the craft show bake sale.
And I did see the staff's recommendation in regards to the signs. Did you all see that?
Yeah, I think it was consistent with
What we did
what
the
we
last time?
decided to do last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
To allow them to have the sign on Mitchell Street and that's what they requested actually, during the day of the event. And I guess the right-of-way the whole week, huh? I'll go ahead and make that motion to approve the request from the Nazarene Church, First Church of the Nazarene, to place one sign at the intersection of Mitchell and Cass Streets on November 3rd and 4th during the hours of operation of their craft show. And place additional sign in the right-of-way in front of the church from October 27th to November 4th for their craft and bake show,
Support.
bake sale, excuse me.
Councilmember Shippers,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
Meinhardt,
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries.
The next request is to approve the display of a banner from November 27th to December 4th, 2017 for the holiday home tour.
I'll make that motion to approve the display of a banner from November 27th, 2017 to December 4th, 2017 for the holiday home tour.
Support.
Councilmember Spelman.
Yes.
Ingalls.
Yes.
Meinhardt.
Yes.
Shippers.
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries.
Last request this evening is to approve the closure of Lake Street between Cass and Harris from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. on November 25th, 2017 for the Toy Trot 5K.
I'll make a motion to approve the closure of Lake Street between Cass Street and Harris Street from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. November 25th, 2017 for the Toy Toy Trot 5K.
Support.
Councilmember Ingalls?
Yes.
Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins?
Yes. Motion carries. And that takes us to the city manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Filkins and members of the City Council. The one and only item on tonight's City Manager's report is with respect to engineering services for wellfield development, transmission main installation, and wellfield decommissioning. This is sort of a long time coming, but it's an opportunity to celebrate moving into the construction phase now of what I believe will be the last quote-unquote new well field for the city of Cadillac. As most of you or all of you know, we have gone through a very laborious process and robust process in site selection and testing the water, ensuring that it meets all of the standards that it has to appropriate for a municipal well field. We've gone through the process of acquiring that property officially, and so now we have it, and now we're at the point of where we're looking at bringing on the consultant to essentially take us through implementation. We went through a request for qualifications process. Accordingly, we received responses from C2AE, Fleiss and Vandenbrink, Fishbeck, Thompson, Carr, and Huber, and Prine and Newhoff. There was a selection committee comprised of our Director of Utilities, our Assistant to our Director of Utilities, and our Director of Finance to go through the request for qualifications that we received. Each of the firms submitted essentially a unique proposal. C2AE is the firm that we used for phase one of the relocation of our wells from the industrial park to the current new well field, the one located off of Crosby Road. And C2AE is also the firm that we are recommending this evening for council's consideration of approval as we look at bringing them on board for the completion of this project, which we're calling Phase 2. C2AE has developed obviously a very strong working relationship with our staff as a part of Phase 1, and certainly have demonstrated that they're highly competent and in tune with the needs of the city, specifically related to this project. The continuity of keeping them on board for Phase 2 is very important to us, and certainly we believe that they would be the most ideal firm for this specific project moving forward. They do have a strong background in municipal water supply projects, including direct experience with the USDA RD funding model. That's the funding model that we are looking at utilizing for paying for this new well field. And certainly they have experience with the USDA Rural Development Traverse City staff, which is the local office that'll be essentially tasked to be working with the city on this project. John, I'm just going to point this way so I could kind of look towards you guys. It drives me nuts in the face and the other way. As required by the request for qualifications and proposal that we received, C2A did provide us with all of the necessary components that we had asked for. They maintain a full complement of staff to be able to be tasked to this project. And again, they also did Phase 1 for the city, and so they currently have all of the CAD drawings for that project, in which that'll help provide the baseline for Phase 2. There are certain components from the Phase 1 design that will be reused and will help with connecting all of the facilities together. We certainly did ask for cost estimates for this project, and the matrix shows an estimate of what the costs are based on the companies that responded. These are simply estimates. They might come in higher, they might come in lower, based upon what issues might arise during the project. C2AE's estimated cost was $420,000. Fleiss and Vandenbrink was $390,000. Fishbeck, Thompson, Carr, and Huber was $479,250, and Prine and Newhoff was $429. So in summary, based upon the review and the scoring from the project committee of the proposals that we received, it is being recommended that the City Council award the contract for wellfield development, transmission main installation, and wellfield decommissioning engineering services to C2AE of Gaylord, Michigan, in accordance with their proposal. Jeff Dietlin, our Utilities Director, is here, as well as Owen Roberts, our Director of Finance. David Stearns is not present tonight, but they can certainly provide you with a lot more details should you have questions that you'd like to ask. So thank
Marcus?
you. Yes.
Larry Fox
Oh,
is here too.
and thank you. And Larry Fox, principal with C2AE, is here this evening as well, should you have questions for the consultant.
Well, I think it's important that whoever we work with has a lot of experience working with rural development with this process, and that's the funding mechanism that we're using, so I appreciate that. I had another question. This is more of a logistical type of question, I guess, and in terms of how we're voting on this. So there was a RFQ, and they just talked about what their experience is and how they would approach the project, and it was scored and pointed. But then we also did this kind of like a bidding process for the not-to-exceed price.
There was an RFQ, and then there were sealed price proposals. And the price proposals were not opened until after the scoring based on a qualifications-based methodology was completed. So the priority of identifying the selection was based upon the qualifications and that part of their proposal versus the separate price proposal. So it didn't enter into the conversation of the committee. And I don't know if you wanted to put a finer point.
Yeah, I think the point of it was there were some additional points available. So it was really based on here's what we've told you about the project. Demonstrate your understanding of our project and your firm's capability to do the project as we need you to do it, and we'll give you points for that. And then based on your understanding, how much do you think in engineering fees we're going to incur in this? And really it was based on a flat dollar amount that we provided in the RFQ of $3.5 million, and then the scope. And based on your understanding, what are your potential fees that you think will incur based on those estimates provided by us? And it was an opportunity. We gave 10 additional points for the lowest proposal, 5 additional points for the second lowest, 2 additional points for the third lowest, and then the fourth, there was no points beyond the top 3. And that was based on some other things that we had seen out in the market, some other proposals, and some suggestions that we had received. And basically it's, if you have 2 that are substantially equivalent, and then those prices, we didn't want the prices to skew the initial scoring opinions, but we did at least want to see if there were comparable amounts or the opportunity to earn additional points based on the pricing. So that's why we did it that way.
So even though they didn't come out with the lowest price, they still scored the highest.
Their final scoring was still higher than the next placed.
And how long
firm.
have we been working with this firm on the well fields? Because
We did the other one in 2011, and C2A took over from when we the whole design, construction, and onboarding of the new system they did for us back then. And so we've had that was mainly over probably a 2 to 2.5, 3 year period back, probably 2010 to 12-ish in there. For the whole scope of the last project and getting that started up and on board. We haven't had a project with the firm directly since our own well field, but we haven't had one of this nature either.
So what's the decommissioning piece. That's decommissioning the old one in the industrial part, and they're just providing the engineering for that.
That's correct.
Services on how that would be done.
Yep, so there, I think in the proposal, the plan is to award several different construction-type contracts based on the timing of all of that. And
I
so
see.
they had even provided some additional thoughts on the timing of those things. You know, you certainly want to have the new wells online and test it out for a period of time before you just take the other ones offline. So yeah, the timing of that really will, some of that will be, you know, they may lay out some of the specs for that, but that would probably be a different bid for that construction project. But what we're doing tonight is to give them the whole job for a continuity perspective of, you know, from A to Z, really. We're going to get this thing, we're going to apply, we're going to design, we're going to bid, we're going to construct, we're going to start it up, then we're going to decommission. And we want to work with the same firm from the design and engineering side from day one.
Makes sense.
Which is also the recommendation of the USDA when we met with their representative as well.
I'll make a motion to award the contract for well field development, transition main installation, and well field decommissioning engineering services to C2AE of Gaylord, Michigan, in accordance with their proposal.
Support.
Councilmember Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Spelman.
Yes.
Ingalls?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you very much. We're anxious to be started. Thank you.
Next week, it'll be done, right?
Right.
No, just so that council and the public knows, it could be about a year and a half before we're cutting a ribbon. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
It's a long application
Yes,
process.
yes, yes. I just wanted to make sure that part gets out there, so.
Right. But we're moving forward.
Yes.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
I might need Sandy to help clarify a little bit about what the next item is on the agenda. It's a
Equipment.
resolution, Mayor, members of the City Council, for a grant application for new voting equipment. And in summary, this is being required in order for us to apply for the grant. And we are also required, and Sandy, this is where if you could maybe help explain a little bit, that we have to obtain a certain number of new voting machines or additional equipment?
No.
No, not quite?
It's based on what we said we needed. We asked for 4 tabulators, which is what we have now. When we have an AV counting board, it has a separate tabulator. When we don't use an AV counting board, it is used as a spare. And then 3 of the voting machines that can be used by the disabled, which is what we have now. The entire state is switching over. Some counties have already made the switch. The state went out for bid. They received 3 different vendors. Each county got to select which vendor they wanted to go with. And you can see that the county's already signed the contract. And this is basically, but we own the equipment as the city of Cadillac. So we're piggybacking on their application is basically what we're doing.
So this is just a resolution approving you moving forward with the grant,
Right.
to apply for the grant. Okay,
The county as a whole, county
Works.
clerk and the other
and all the
clerks
clerks.
made the decision, and then the county signed the contract with Dominion. And then, but since we own the equipment,
We have to be on board.
we have to be on our own separate resolution and grant.
Okay. All right, so I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the city clerk to submit the grant application for the purchase of new voting equipment on behalf of the city of Cadillac.
Support.
Councilmember Spelman.
Yes.
Ingalls.
Yes.
Meinhardt?
Yes.
Shippers?
Yes.
Mayor Folkins?
Yes, motion carries. Okay, this evening in our packets, we had the minutes from the Dog Park Advisory Committee, and if you had the chance to read those, at the end of their meeting in September, they're letting us know that they're not going to meet anymore. So they've completed their work, and so I just wanted to give a public thank you to the people who have worked so hard on that project. It's a long time coming. So.
Thank you for doing that.
Yes.
It's a citizen-led group, and, yeah,
Yep.
they came up with a good project that's
Yes.
enjoyed by a lot of residents, and a lot of canines.
That's
Canine
appreciated.
residents.
It's appreciated by everybody that uses it.
I bet it is.
It'd be nice if the visitors to our city could find it easily or easier too.
Oh,
I know. That would be good.
so what are you going to do to make that happen?
I was just throwing that out there. Whoops.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh, something to the Visitors Bureau so they can put it in one of their publications.
I have seen posts of people that come in for these things that they know there's a dog park here, but don't always know where
Where it is.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's just
Well, maybe there's something we can do to help that.
talk to Joy about that one.
Yeah. Okay, so that takes us to the second public comment. Seeing no takers, we'll go ahead and close public comment and move to good of the order.
I had a couple of quick announcements for the board. One, I wanted to publicly thank Brian Cardinal for his years of service with the city of Cadillac. He very quietly retired last week after 35 years. He was our water distribution and collection division supervisor. And so I just wanted to mention that publicly. 35 years of service is quite a long haul. I also wanted to mention a quick thank you to Pat Goggin at the United Way. They had a Day of Caring event, and if you were going to mention it, then I'll stop.
No,
Okay.
go ahead.
So we had, through Pat Goggin and United Way, they sent volunteers from Munson over to the Clam River area Greenway off of Haynes Street to help clear away some shrubs and tree debris to open up that area by the Greenway, which is very nice, working with city staff on that. And likewise, they had volunteers from Meyer come forward that built sort of a brick garden area around the skate park sign with new plantings, which look really pretty this fall. So.
Nice.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'd like to thank the Officer Rourke and Deputy, I knew this was going to happen. From, who was it? Yes, thank you so much. Deputy Leeper, who went along with the Youth Council for Project Sticker Shock this past week. It's homecoming season, and there are stickers. Last week they went out, the Youth Council, along with the deputy and officer, and put stickers on all of the multi-packs of alcoholic beverages, reminding adults that these are not for minors. And even if it is homecoming or any other school event, that this is not only illegal, but a danger to our young people. So make sure that homecomings are safe, and that, like they say in Boston, potty smart.
Okay. You all set?
I have a question. If there's any update on the pickleball court development? I noticed that there are lines on the court, but it looks like they're waiting for net installation or something. Do you have an update?
No, the nets
Don't know.
The nets will be mobile,
Yeah.
and they're gonna move them in and out as, they're gonna
So
come up.
Maybe they're already there, but they just weren't there when I was there.
It could be. Yeah, I would contact Tim Ellenbus if you're interested, and they're supposed to be keeping their own schedule. They don't want to leave the nets up there because they could be stolen.
So it's almost like they need a metal sign then with the phone number, like you're saying, or however somebody gets a hold of the nets there.
Yeah.
Or at least whatever is their nets will be there.
Yeah, I don't know if they have certain hours or how flexible they are, but I think Tim could answer that question.
Oh, and do we have any update on your
Is
end?
it being run by somebody
No, I've
other
never
than
think
the
about it.
city? Is that what I'm
Yeah.
hearing?
Yeah, it was just, all we needed to do was to get it striped, and then they were gonna manage their own program. It was a
You'd like to
community
go
group.
play.
I heard from somebody in the community last week that there are no pickleball courts up there, so I thought I would go and look and see what was going on, and that's what I saw, that they were painted. But yeah, we need some communication then if it's gonna be available to other people. It
Right,
should
they
be.
need to, if they're interested, put them in touch with Tim Ellenbus, and then they can become part of that communication group, pickleball player group.
Okay.
Who knows, maybe the paper could talk to Tim Ellenbus and
Rover.
find out what's going on with the pickleball courts. With your vast staff.
I don't know, Chris doesn't look like he's taking it.
Looks like a
He's like,
pickleball
really?
It's a rover thing.
It's a Rover thing. Okay, now, if there's nothing else, we're gonna need a motion to go into closed session this evening.
I request the motion to adjourn to closed session to consult with the city attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with Clam Lake Township and Herring Charter Township versus the State Boundary Commission, Terry D. LLC, and the City of Cadillac, Supreme Court docket number 151800, and to invite Jeff Dietland, the Director of Utilities.
Support.
Councilmember Spelman,
Yes.
Ingalls,
Yes.
Meinhardt.
Yes.
Shippers.
Yes.
Mayor Folkins.
Yes, motion carries.